So, um, amidst of the tragedy of Charlie Kirk's death, I know everyone is putting out videos. Everyone is, has their opinions, has something to say. Frankly, some surprise me, and others are very heartfelt. And I get it. Uh, it sucks. I was in the gym last night. I got the news late, man. I'm on the East Coast, so probably like 9 o'clock is when I found out. I saw a short video from a guy I follow on YouTube, and at first I thought it was AI because I was like, "There's no way, there's no way." And quickly realized it wasn't. It was from his channel. It was the actual guy speaking, and man, it rocked me. To be honest with you, like, I don't know Charlie. I'm not in those circles. Not exactly close to those circles. Um, but I definitely know some people that run in those same circles. I mean, I am close with them. Uh, his now widow, we went to school together, never met her. They kept that under wraps for obvious reasons. Charlie is and was a celebrity at the time. And sorry for all the camera shaking and stuff. I'm holding this in my hand. I don't even have a tripod, man. I need to get one. Um, but anyways, there's a lot to unpack here, man. And if you don't think that, then how do I say this nicely? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be, unfair or bash people, even though hard truths will probably be spoken right here. Just know I'm not trying to be harsh, but the truth might be harsh. Don't mean it to be, but it is what it is, and this is how I see it. So, again, a lot to unpack. There's a lot I can say. First of all, it's just tragic. We lost a great guy, a truly solid dude. And I know people throw that around, but where I'm coming from, you know, that's not words that get thrown around, man. Like, if you're a solid dude, you're a solid dude. Like, you're one of the solid ones for sure. It's not something that me or my culture uses lightly. So, that being, you know, the South, athletics, military, stuff like that. You know, if you're a solid dude, you're a solid dude. Some people would call it a real one, whatever. But lost I'm sure a fantastic woman, lost a great husband. Shoot, dude, two babies, lost a really good dad. And that's the reality of the situation. And for anyone, here's the hard part. For anyone coming out and saying like, whoops, it just happens, or you shouldn't say those words, you get schwacked. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know the game you're playing. You really don't. Like, that level of ignorance, to have that response to a tragedy like that just because the guy doesn't agree with you, is inhumane and frankly psychotic. It just is. And if you take offense to that, then you might be one of those, man. You need to take a good long look in the mirror. And here's kind of what I came on here to say. If you're that individual, I don't care what side of the aisle you fall on. You might fall whatever. Don't care. Race, religion, political affiliation. It does not matter to me. I don't care. But if that's you, and that's the type of response you had to this, I don't mean this to sound harsh, but I really believe this. The best thing you can do is bow down. The best thing you can do is bow down for two reasons. One, usually you look at world history. How many times has the bad guy actually won? Let's be real. Hitler probably had the most advanced military on the earth in World War II. He overplayed his hand and he was stupid. He lost. And yeah, there's times in history where probably not the best guy won. I'm not denying that. But guess what? History isn't over. And it will wrap up one day. And I'll get to that in a second. But to finish that note, man, it just doesn't turn out well. And I'd rather not see blood in the streets in my country. and I think I'm not saying we're far from that necessarily, and I hope we are, and I hope it obviously does not come to that for anyone. Unfortunately, it has happened for Charlie, and yeah, it's happened for a lot of people lately, for multiple reasons: mental health, political stuff, religious affiliation. You look at the hatred towards the Jewish population, which I'm not one of, but I do worship a Jew. I do that. So, but any religion, man, like, it doesn't matter if you're the opposite of me. I don't think you deserve to have physical violence be thrown against you because of your views. I think that's controlling. I think that's evil. And that stuff is in the world, unfortunately. That is a way of life. And people ask me a lot, or have asked me in the past, like, hey, man, why does God allow bad things to happen? Jesus himself said, you will have trouble in this world. That is a direct quote from him. It's red letters in the Bible. It's in the Gospels. Can't remember which one. It might be multiple. But it's in there. Just Google it. I'm sure it'll pop up. In this world, you will have trouble. He said, pick up a sword, meaning there is going to be violence. The violent take it by force. That's another Bible verse. It's an unfortunate reality living in a fallen world. Was it ever supposed to come to this? No. This wasn't the original plan. But here we are. Like, we didn't ask for it, but we're here now. And that's just the way of it. And what I'm about to say now, and everything else for sure that I've said so far, take it as you may. But especially this one, if you're an atheist or believe in God or don't believe in God, I would encourage you to take this to the Father. And even if you don't believe, man, just throw up a prayer. You probably talk to yourself anyway. Most people do on some level. Hopefully not too much. But anyways, but I would take this to, or shoot, ask a friend to check you. That's good too. We all need checks. And that's why I want to make this video, man, because I feel like things are getting out of check. And that's an obvious statement. Like, if you have two brain cells to rub together, that is an obvious statement. The past, couple years, we've had Congress people shot at, presidential candidates shot at and actually shot. Thank God, it was a grazing blow, shot at nonetheless. And now we have one of the most popular people in the world, especially politically, killed in front of, unfortunately, anyone who wants to pull up a video, and the thousands of people that were in attendance. But this is what I want to say. The Bible says every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. I don't care if you believe that. I totally think that's true. And I believe that's a reality that's coming to everyone. Every nation, every tongue, every tribe, every knee, every person. You can hate me. You can say what you want. That's fine. Really don't care. But I will say this. There is a verse in the Bible that's pretty scary and comforting at the same time, but it gets overlooked a lot. Jesus himself says, you will be judged for every vain word you speak. And as for the shooter, man, and as everyone, really, like, I pray for their soul. And I think Charlie, his wife, and a lot of other people feel the same way. Like, do we want justice served? Yes. In the proper way. But do we want to see someone lose their soul to the depths of hell forever? No. Regardless of who they are, what they've done, that's kind of the whole point, is I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, and no one's perfect. And if Jesus had to die for the littlest thing, and you think you're better, I'm here to tell you you're not. Because on some level, you're just as jacked up as them. That's just the case. So, but what I will say it just blows my mind. I gotta make this video, even to grown-ups. And it's nuts to me, man. It's absolutely nuts. To come out with some of the responses that I've seen from supposedly grown-up people, supposedly mature individuals, and professional people. And again, regardless of your affiliation, it doesn't matter. If the shoe was on the other foot, I'd be saying the same thing, dude. Maybe with more verbato. Sorry, man. I got a southern tongue. More fire, maybe. Verbato? Yeah, that's it ish, and whatever. Anywho, so just know that I believe lies, misconceptions, and clear deceptions would fall into that category. So you consider yourself warned. Straight up. Consider yourself warned. Because if what I believe is true, and at the end of the day, you got to stand before a creator who made the literal rock you're standing on or sitting on or whatever, and you got to stand before him and answer for every single vain word that came out of your mouth without hopefully backtracking that first and getting right with whoever you need to get right with, the people maybe you offended, the God you certainly offended. Not that there's no hope. There is hope. That's why I'm putting this out here. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be saying this. But I think it's a stern warning to everyone. Don't care what side. Don't care what your belief is. I do not care. Because we're all going to be weighed by the same thing, regardless of what you claim to be at the end of the day. We're all going to be weighed. And if you don't have blood covering that, then good luck to you, brother. That's all I got to say. But as for the vain responses, words that mean nothing, that's what vain is. So just to get that clear, words without meaning. For you to sit there and watch that and see a daddy, a husband, a human being get shot and murdered in cold blood in front of the world, and it's just like, you either applaud it or you're like, whatever, man. It's, another Nazi dead, right? Or whatever you want to call it. Which, by the way, in itself is disgusting. And I would definitely call that a vain word. Because last time I checked, Charlie was a huge friend of Israel. I don't know if I'm getting to that, but whatever. And again, if you have two brain cells to rub together, you'll be able to pick up what I'm putting down. And if you don't, then again, I suggest you look in the mirror. Don't mean that to be mean. I know I just said brain cells. I'm not trying to call you dumb. I know, obviously, if you're listening to this, you clearly have more than two brain cells. But you need to use them. You need to have wisdom. And that's one thing our culture lacks. Our culture does not know the difference between wisdom and knowledge. Or intelligence, or the ability to use the intelligence. And that is huge. That is huge. That is a video. There probably needs to be a freaking college course on that, man. Or something. Because that is missed on us. We will take the smartest people who have a big IQ, and great, we'll just listen to whatever they say without running it through any type of filter. That, to me, would be the definition of ignorance. Because here's the thing. Just because you're smart doesn't mean you're right. A lot of smart people have gotten it wrong. And just to listen to whoever and just take their advice on something is not prudent, and frankly, it's not smart. But if you're one of these individuals that feel this type of way, I would suggest you bow. I would suggest you bow. Because one day you're going to bow anyway. And what do you want me to say, man? You're going to bow. That's really all I gotta say, man. There's the two options. Really, one. If you just see this and dismiss it, I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. I got like 37 subscribers, man. Whatever. Again, don't care. But if you dismiss it, I hope you don't, but that's on you, dude. That's on you. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be on you. That's why I'm making this, man. And you're going to bow. And there's no way out of this. You're going to die. You're going to die one day. And we all are. And we're going to stand before a Creator who made us with, dare I say, certain expectations. If you don't meet that, there's nothing more I can say to you. Again, don't mean to be harsh. I do love everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone. I know people throw that around. I can say with the best of my ability and the definitions of words I know, that is for certain for me. I do not want to see people perish in this life or the next, even if you don't believe it, which, again, okay. But I don't want to see you perish, man. Anybody. From whoever would consider the worst person to the best, don't care. I don't want to see it. I don't. And I just wanted to give a warning, I guess, before we get there. Don't want to get there. Peace and harmony are great things. So, just consider that, man. Just please consider it. And again, I don't care if you don't believe right now. Just consider it. Consider the words I'm saying and think about them. Literally think about them. Don't run them. Everyone has a filter, man. Maybe try looking at it from a different perspective. And that word gets thrown around. I think maybe a better way to say it is like run it through another filter. Like at least put yourself in the mindset of like, maybe this is real. Maybe this is true. And don't judge me for my views. Take me for what I say. And then please just think about it. Go think about it. Go run it through a filter. Maybe ask a friend. Search for advice, man. Do something other than the same mundane. Because for every individual, if you do the same thing over and over and over again, you'll get the same results. Now, for some people, that's great, right? Tom Brady, he did the same thing his whole career probably, or at least got better at it, right? And he had some pretty good results, man. So if you have something that works, great, but it can probably be improved. We all can use some improvement. So even if you take that stance, do that. Literally go do that. That's fine, man. In this video, I don't know how many people it's going to reach. And I don't know how many people this would even bring to the Father. I don't know. Or how many people it would bring to the Son. I hope it does. And if you already know Him, I hope it brings you closer. And if you're the farthest thing from it, man, I'm not forcing you to do anything. It's not about that. You have free will. You can't truly love without free will. God gave you free will to make your own decisions and your own choices. Now, the difference is you will be held accountable for those things. Probably in this life. And if not this life, if you got away with everything, you're going to be held accountable one day, man. It's how the world works. It's how justice works. You are going to be held accountable. So, one way or the other. And again, if you don't believe, this might come off whatever way. That's fine, man. That's fine. But I can argue scientifically, philosophically, however way you want to argue, because I've thought about this a lot. If you maybe can't tell, I've thought about this a great deal for years on end. And I'm a type of guy that likes to come to proper conclusions. And there's just no way around it, man. There's things that can't be explained without that being the case on many levels, on a lot of levels, actually. So, physical, spiritual, philosophical, emotional, all of them. And people just want to overlook that like it's nothing, man. And that is a tragedy. That's a tragedy. And there's a lot more to say on a lot of those subjects, man. And hopefully we'll get to it one day. Because I just want to see people come to the right conclusions. The truth, not my truth, not your truth, because there is no such thing. I'm sorry to say. I hate to tell you. And if you believe that, that's ignorant. That's ignorant. Because if my truth is 2 + 2 = 5, what do you think that's going to get me? Stupid example. I'm very aware. But people see the world through that lens in a lot of different ways. Might be more complex to some people, but when you get down to it, it's probably not that much more complex than 2 + 2, man. And one thing I found, and Ben Patrick says this a lot, guy I follow. He says that, the closer you get to truth, the more simple it seems to be. Sometimes it's not always the case, right? There's some complicated things in the world. Medical science, pretty complicated. I'm not even through my degree yet. It's not medical science, but I took anatomy. The human body is pretty complex. And there's obviously MDs and nurses and, people that have doctorates, surgeons, and know way more than I do. That goes without saying. But anyhow, yeah, man. Don't really know how to end this. Kind of knew what I wanted to say. Again, I hope it doesn't come off harsh, but if it does, whatever, man. It is what it is. There's some people that need to hear harsh truths in this world, and I'm one of them. There's no one above that. And if your feelings are hurt, then again, you probably need to grow up. But that's about all I got. And one more thing. Just because you hear a harsh truth from anyone doesn't mean they don't love you. It probably means they do. Especially if they're coming at it from a perspective of trying to help. They might be wrong. I may have said something wrong in this video. I'm not above that. I'm not perfect. But again, in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of all these crazy things I see, man, that it's hard for me to fit in my brain. Not because I'm unintelligent, not because I'm stupid, but because, and I'm not the most decent person in the world, man. I've made plenty of mistakes. Plenty. A lot I'm ashamed of. Going back to when I was super young, man. And even up to today, there's a lot of things I did say I wish I didn't. A lot of things I wish I could take back. We apologize, move on the best we can. But I'm not perfect. So when I say this, I'm not perfect. I'm not above reproach and everything. I'm not above being confronted with truths that may be uncomfortable. That's probably a better way to say it. Uncomfortable truths, harsh truths, whatever. And if someone with love tells me that, I want to hear it. Truth and love. It's another Bible verse. I don't want to bash anyone. And if I did, I'm sorry. I do apologize if it came off that way. It is what it is, man. But anyhow, I want this to be a truth and love thing, man. At the end of the day, I want this to be a truth and love. Not trying to insult anyone. Not trying to come down on anyone. Again, unless it's with truth and love. And that's it. So, again, if that's you, please just think about it. You know what? Scratch please. Just think about it. And if you come to a different conclusion, then good luck to you, homie. That's all I gotta say. Because on a few levels, it might not end well. It's not a threat. It's just reality. Because I'm not going to be the guy to do anything about it. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not military right now. It's not my place. But actions have consequences, and you're free to make whatever choice you want. Good, bad, and different. You're free to make those choices. But you are not free from the consequences of that choice. One of my drill instructors told me that. Told actually the whole platoon, and that stuck with me, and that's been 10 years ago. He told us that statement. Close to the day, actually, now that I think about it. Somewhere in there. But it's true, man. And maybe that's the ultimate message of this video. And being accountable and having decency is the fact that you are free to make whatever choice you want. You can go do really, really good things. And I hope you do. I hope you do. And everyone's capable of really good things. They are. But people are also capable of very bad things. And we have the choice to do one or the other. Or maybe mundane stuff, whatever. But whatever choices you make in your life, in your career, in your relationships, in your job, good, bad, and different, you will reap the consequences of that choice. And even if you make the right choice and the wrong thing happens to you, I promise you, from what I've seen in my own experience, in my 30 years of walking this earth, and I got a few experiences under my belt at this age, frankly, that I wish I didn't have, but I do. Things will always come back around, man, in one way or the other. It might not be the way you expect it. It probably won't be a lot of times, and sometimes it might be, and that's great. Sometimes you might get paid more for a good deed, and that's great. And I hope that happens, because that's good for you and the goodness you're putting into the world, which again, we're all capable of, man. We are all capable of. Whether you believe it or not, you are. You absolutely are. Again, man, this is a long conversation already. It probably could be longer. But in the midst of all this stuff, man, and a guy dropping his baton because he had to, I wanted to do something, man. I wanted to, in the midst of all this, not regurgitating the same opinions, which are maybe valid. Some probably aren't. That's okay. I wanted to give my 2 cents. And again, not to give my 2 cents, man. It's the first time I've recorded a video on here in a second. I'm not trying to be like an attention whore. I am trying to get people to understand the reality of the situation and put goodness forth so that others can pay it forward. I don't mean that in a frou-frou way, man. I mean that in the deepest of ways. Deep and sincere. The most deepest and sincerest of ways. And if you don't think you can do that, there's someone that can help you. And because that same person said, "You call me good." What is good? That's where it's found. Ultimately, that's where it's found. And everyone can do something good, man. Don't get me wrong. But ultimate goodness comes from here. It comes internally. It comes with meaning. It comes with purpose. It comes with a weight. If you ever came across something good, like actually good, not this cheeseburgers are great. I love cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers are good. There's different types of good, man. But if someone ever pulled you out of a bad spot, helped you financially, picked you up on the side of the road, whatever, something truly good that they didn't have to do. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Things of that nature. Helping widows and orphans is never bad. It's always good. The Bible would call that true religion. And that's where true goodness is found, man. And I pray you would seek that out. And I pray you would seek his face. I do. I really do. So, anyways, a little bit heavy. I know my channel's got some weird stuff on it. That's fine. You know, I'm a person with a range. I can be goofy as crap, but I can also be really serious. And I think that's good. You know, you probably shouldn't be one or the other, your whole life. You should be able to have some range, man. You should be able to have fun. You should be able to goof around. But you should also have maturity. And you should also be able to articulate things and have adult conversations, which I hope this is. Anyways, whoever watches this, man, you can believe the total opposite of me in whatever way. And when I say I love you, I mean it, dude. I absolutely mean it. Or girl, whoever. And you cannot believe that. And, again, that's your choice, man. That's your choice. But that doesn't change the fact. I will say this, man. And this isn't to blow my own bagpipe. There's plenty of dudes that did this. Plenty of girls that did this. A lot of people have done this. But the truth is, man, I took it very seriously. When I took an oath to the Constitution and to my God and to the United States of America, I took that very seriously. In that moment, I accepted death, and I've done that multiple times in my life where it's like, all right, dude, I accept death. If this goes sideways and this happens, there's a blank check on my life, man. I've accepted it. Don't want to die necessarily. Don't have a death wish, nothing like that. And I thought to myself, man, and this isn't just the U.S., man. This is, frankly, it's the world. But as far as military goes, it was definitely the U.S. I came to the conclusion that even the person that would hate me the most, for whatever reason, on this patch of dirt, if they were the last ones and I had to die to save their life, without hesitation, man, without hesitation. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. I would go to death's door for them. And again, not to blow my own bagpipe, dude, but just to show you where I'm coming from. And I mean what I say. Just talk about vain words. I take that seriously. I mean that. I'd rather die for a person that hates me so they have the ability to live. And that's not just the U.S. In the military, that was very true. But that would even be anyone anywhere else, man. Like, as long as they weren't the aggressor and they weren't hurting innocent people, that's a different conversation. But if it was my life versus theirs, and I could save this individual to give them another day, to give them another chance, to know what I know, to see what I see, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do that in a heartbeat, because I'm not perfect. And to stand before a living God is probably an awesome and terrifying thing. I even think there's a verse in the Bible that says that, or something to that effect. It is an awesome, I think it's in Hebrews actually, it's an awesome and terrifying thing. But at the end of the day, and he's got me. I'm not perfect, man. I'm not. However, I know him, and I have confidence that he knows me. And whenever I'm called, I'm willing to take that stand. Will it be terrifying? Yes. Will it be awesome? Yes. I hope so, at least. But just like he told Job, man up. And that's what hopefully I'll have the gumption to do one day. And hopefully the intestinal fortitude, even with my mistakes, man, even with them, because I know at the end of the day, there's a guy on the cross that died for me over, around 2,000 years ago. However you want to chop that up. In the desert in the Middle East, man. I know he loves me. I know he paid a price for me. And I know there's purpose for that, man. And hopefully I was not purchased in vain. And his sacrifice was not in vain. And again, regardless of mistakes, whatever, I want to live a life worthy of that at the end of the day. Again, that does not mean perfect, but that is the goal. That is the aim. And for people that don't know that, again, even if you're the worst person on earth, whatever, I don't know if there is a worst person on earth. Like, if there is, it probably changes by the day, or the minute, hour, second. Let's be real, because there's no ending to that, and that's reality. There is no ending to that. But anywho, but I'd rather take that individual spot, because I believe if you die without that, because we're imperfect, if you die without that, you will suffer eternally. And it's not just, I'll suffer and whatever, no, dude. You're going to be tortured forever if that's not the case, man. And I'd rather die and take that individual spot, having faith in my Lord, just for that individual to have a chance, whoever that might be, to have at least one more day, one more breath, one more second to get things right. Because again, if you can't tell, I believe, I've said it, obviously, without that, man, it's not good. And that's why I'm coming on here. I just want you to understand and take this into consideration. Take it into consideration. Because, again, the old adage, right? You probably heard it if you listen to any type of theist and not theist debate, right? This pretty much always comes up in one way or the other. If I'm right, if you're right and you think this way, and all right, man, you've wasted 40, 60, 80, 100, 110, 120 years. Whatever your lifespan is, okay. And scientifically, the sun will go out one day. It's finite, it's not infinite. We used to think that in all of our brilliant knowledge back in the day. But it's what they knew, right? But they were wrong. So at the end of the day, man, if there's nothing after this, then it doesn't matter. Paul said, hey, if I'm wrong, the Apostle Paul wrote 2/3, 3/4 of the New Testament, something to that effect. He was preaching to people all the time. Jewish guy, right? Persecuted Christians, came to know Jesus himself, and then spent his life until he died. He died a martyr. The Bible doesn't talk about that, but it's in the history books. But it does talk about his torture that he endured, which is crazy, by the way. Go look that up. All for a God he didn't believe in, sometime prior, that he willfully persecuted and wanted to scourge from the earth. Then he had an encounter with that same man, and it changed everything and changed the course of history. And if you don't believe that, tell me what year it is. Again, man, I'm asking you just to use your brain. That's all I'm asking you to do. Look at the evidence and use rational thought, because a lot of people want to make God unrational. And yeah, man, sometimes in our view, it might seem that way. Why 3 days? Why walk on water? Why make mud to heal a blind guy's eye? But that's from our perspective. It's not from his, and he's the creator. And if it's true that he's a creator, and again, scientifically, this whole thing had a beginning, right? All this theory about the multiverse is trash, man. I'm sorry, it's trash. Quantum physics is real, but that's because there's different realms, just so you know. That's probably the answer. And you're not going to find it within yourself, man. We're finite beings, dude. We only have so much of this. At some point, you got to look outside that scope to get the full rationale of what's going on here. So a lot of times it won't make sense to you, man. That's okay. It's because it can't. You can't fit here. I'm not calling you stupid. That's humans. We have so much capacity up here, only so much. So, man, this is turning into like 2 videos. But I guess this is the ultimate point, man. Started with Charlie. But this is the ultimate point, dude. This is the ultimate point of anything. This is it. Well, at least the ending. So, no, scratch that. It matters. Beginning, end, middle. Before you, after you. It all matters. This matters. This will always matter. Yeah, man, just look into it. Just look into it. Use this. Think with this. Feel with this. And if you know his voice, listen. Jesus said, my sheep know my voice. Just listen, man. Just listen. And if you don't, ask. He will answer. I believe if you ask with the smallest sliver of intentionality is not the word. It's always a synonym for what I'm trying to find. If you ask with the slightest sincerity, that's what I was looking for. If you ask with the slightest sincerity, the slightest sincerity, and actually something in you means it, man. Something in you is curious. And it's just to ask, like, hey, if you're real, show me. Do it and see what happens. Love you guys.